It's a video on meat. There's several different types of meat, and they have different purposes. So there's red meat, there's white meat, and there's pork, which is a combination, and then fish, which is a white meat, but it's a little bit different. So the red meat is any four-legged ruminant land animal, except maybe like rabbit, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not too versed in that because I don't really eat rabbits. So, generally I'm speaking about lamb, beef, goats, that sort of thing, and they very adrenalizing meat, right? It's going to give you a lot of energy. It's very good for building muscle, repairing muscle, also organs and glandular tissue, and this is all in the books. And so read the books, please. And I personally don't have a taste for red meat anymore. I used to eat red meat all the time when I was first doing the diet for the first several years, and eventually it just became too much for me, and I switched to mostly exclusively white meat and pork. Red meat is also something you don't want to mix with lemon because it will turn it into fuel. Not the case for white meat. You're always going to want to eat a little bit of fat with your meat, like anywhere from 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons or more. Eggs can work if you don't have butter or sour cream or something, but personally for me, I think it's best to eat eggs before, during, and after you're eating meat to keep your body fueled, so it keeps that meat being used for regeneration instead of fuel. Because if you just eat meat alone, it's going to be used to fuel your body. It won't be used to help rebuild it. Okay, so that's red meat. And white meat, is like chicken, any poultry or fowl, basically, and also fish. But fish is a little different. I'll touch on that. But it is related to white meat. And basically, like, you can eat some fruit with the white meat, okay? So, like, in the book, there's recipes, fruit sauces you can make for white meat. You can marinate it in lemon juice, and it doesn't turn it into fuel. And white meat is good for the nerves, the connective tissue, the lymphatic system, the skin, and joints, I believe, basically in a nutshell. And it's a very calming meat. Personally, like, for me, I like white meat more. Like I said, I used to eat red meat all the time. I had to stop. I still eat like a steak or like some red meat a couple times a year, but that's it. And I mostly eat pork. And pork is a 60-40 mix of red and white meat. So it kind of heals, kind of goes to wherever the body needs it. It's still good for building muscle. It's not as adrenalizing, so it doesn't give you too much energy, but it will still give you a pick-me-up. I eat it about twice a week. You're going to want to find a quality source of pork. For almost any kind of beef, you could go to the supermarket and go get the cuts they have, or talk to the butcher there and get some beef, from just the store regularly. But I don't do that for chicken because I don't eat a lot of soy-fed chicken. Also, they spray the chicken with chlorine, I believe. Pork, factory farmed pork, it gets terrible nutrition. So I wouldn't eat that. I would go to like a good butcher or a farmer to get good quality pork. And sometimes it's cheaper than beef. With beef, it doesn't really matter if it's fed soy or grain. Honestly, I think the grass-fed versus grain thing is really negligible. Honestly. So it's really just how you want to spend your money, or if you have a very sensitive palate. But yeah, for the chicken, I would also not, mess around with store-bought stuff, just like the pork. Find a good farmer, find a good butcher, find a good local source for chicken and pork. I know Frank Tufano, he has fresh chicken shares available, or he did. And then places like Amos, they sell fresh chickens now, I do believe. And then fish. Okay, so fish is very good. Fish is my favorite. Several other people I know say they like fish the best as well. Fish has the highest mineral content, and it is a white meat, but it is especially good for helping repair the brain and nerves, the central nervous system. However, cream is still the only thing that has everything to repair the central nervous system. But fish, yeah, very good source of minerals. Things like swordfish that are high in mercury are actually like a natural form of mercury. It's not like a bad thing. Eating that swordfish will actually help draw out mercury that's in your body. So don't be worried about that. The only issue is if you're like cooking fish, because then you get all the stuff that's in the fish. And as far as the plastics go, microplastics, that's kind of whatever. Like, I mean, that stuff's everywhere. It's in the rain, it's in the water. You can't get away from it. So you just have to minimize it the best you can. But for fish, I would find a good fish market, or if you have big bucks, you can order from Fulton's Fish Market. It's a legendary fish market in New York City. I know some people have gotten fish from there, and they said it's like really amazing and fresh, and they detoxed pretty hard when they ate it because it was so good and fresh. Anything you get at a fish market is some stuff may be frozen, some stuff may not be frozen. Okay, so like frozen meat, I've done a video on that before, and there's a video on fish, like fish meats that I recommended, stuff that can be frozen, stuff that isn't as good frozen. So you might want to go check that video if you have more questions. Not going to explain that here. But yeah, fish is great. Fish market is the best. I don't know about Whole Foods. I don't really go there. They do have a good deal on oysters on Fridays, though, 12 for 12. But if you go to a fish market, you should have pretty good prices for everything you need. And maybe you get lucky and you can get some stuff requested on order. And yeah, so fish is good, like deep sea cold fish. I like that the best, whitefish. Like I said, I've done a video on that before. And then combining meat. Okay, so you can combine meat. So, I explained the different types of things the meats are good for, and you can combine them to maximize their effect. So, one recipe that Achinus recommended is 80% chicken, 20% fish. And he said this is the best combination to heal the nerves. In the book We Want to Live, Achinus fed his son beef and fish, about 4 ounces of each, to help heal, obviously the nerves and the muscles. I combine pork and fish. That's really good. If I do like chicken and fish, I might eat a little bit of pork or beef with that, just to give my muscles a little something. So then the other meat is used for the nerves where I want it to go. Just be careful of when you're making combinations of meat to mind, like if you like to marinate something, like you're having white meat with red meat, marinate the white meat if you want, but don't marinate the red meat, right? Maybe eat them like separately, but you can eat them in the same meal if that makes sense. But usually I just pate them up, like pork and fish. I just pate together, and some sour cream and an egg, and then if I have like ketchup or something, I might use that. But I wouldn't put lemon on that, for instance. It'd probably be okay, but I don't like to use too much lemon. So you can get creative with your combinations. Use your intuition. Based on the information I gave, you can kind of like figure out what combinations you might need to have for your health, in particular your situation. Particularly, I like eating just fish or fish and pork. Sometimes beef, chicken when I can get it. Craigslist is a good place to find chicken. Like a farmer. A lot of people give roosters away for free, so that's a good place. That's pretty much all about meat. So I'm not sure if I missed anything. I probably did, but if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments.